accidentally zoomed in the camera when I pressed record. And now you can see my food on the desk, so maybe I should just zoom right back in. Too far. What am I doing? Might just zoom out and turn it around. Fix everything. Hey guys, I'm Penny, and for the last week or so since I bought it in the Steam sale, I've been filling myself with all of the emotions from playing the Walking Dead game, finally. I was lucky enough to play it right after episode 5 was released, which is really good because after the cliffhanger they drop at the end of episode 4, it was the kind of game where I probably couldn't have handled it if I had to wait like another month for the release of the next chapter, the next episode, so I was really glad to have picked it up at a really fortunate time, but I had so much fun with that game that I thought I would split this video into 2 different parts. The first one is going to be a spoiler-free review for those of you who have not played it or have not completed the game yet. The second part, I will warn you before I start talking about it, is going to be full of spoilers and the choices I made in the game. It'll be spoilerific, and if you've played it, we'll be able to have a nice discussion, but if you have not, don't touch that part of the video yet until you play the game, because I don't want to be that guy who spoils the Walking Dead game for you, because that would suck. I've never really gotten into adventure point-and-click games as a genre before. It's just never been something that I was that interested in. This is the first adventure game where I've really sat down and played through it and really enjoyed it the whole time. And I think that's because the Walking Dead game has such a strong story behind it, and it really explains the characters and the story so well. It just has so much emotion and so many feelings that it's one of those games where you do want to keep playing, not for the gameplay, because the gameplay is kind of lackluster considering what it is, but the story drives you on to continue because it's just very, very compelling, and you do want to find out what happens to the characters. The story is definitely where the game shines, like there's no doubt about it, but that's not to say the other elements aren't enjoyable. The sounds are very, very moody, like it's just very mood enhancing, the sounds. The music, especially in some parts, specifically episode 4, had really creepy music that really just had me standing on end. But the sound effects as well, like the groans that the walkers make. And along with that as well, the graphics. It's a beautiful game. It's sort of cel-shaded, very similar to a comic book style of game. It's almost on par with Borderlands, but not to the same full extent there. I was actually playing with graphics turned down a little bit due to some skipping issues that I was having, but it didn't really make the game that much worse. There were some texture kind of problems on some of the walkers, but it was still a really gorgeous game, and yeah, not to the point where it was like, whoa, one of the main features is that it's so beautiful graphically, but to the point where, once again, it just enhances the gameplay, and just makes you want to keep playing, I guess. There's nothing special about the graphics or the sounds, but all together it comes together to make this really good ball of a game. And let's just talk about the story for a minute before we start jumping in with all the spoilers and everything, but the story of this game is insane. The characters are introduced to you it's not like any sort of pattern, like you'll meet a whole bunch of people, then you'll meet no one for ages, you'll meet 1 or 2 people, you'll meet no one, suddenly you'll realise without meaning that you have like a giant group again, and it just kind of goes on like that. It's very haphazard the way you'll meet people, but it just sort of introduces them to you, and I found that a lot of the time I wasn't liking people upon first meeting them. It would take a couple hours of gameplay at least before I'd really start to enjoy having a character around. For instance, there's some characters you meet in episode 3, the end of episode 3. They do have the potential to stick around for quite some time, and you know, at the start of the game, when I first met them, I was like, I hate these guys, I don't want them to stay for very long, I hope they leave. But by, I think even the beginning of episode 5, the end of episode 4, I was really enjoying their company and really glad that they were there, so, you know, things like that, the game just sort of surprises you. And along with that, when I say it surprises you, it will surprise you like nobody's business. It will suddenly just do something to shake up the whole game that you won't be seeing out of nowhere, and then you'll just have to like kind of like step away from the keyboard and just kind of sit there quietly to yourself for a little while and just think about what happened. Just think about what happened in that game that you were playing, and you know, things like that. The game just sort of like will bombard you with emotions. Now, from this point on in the video, I will be talking about spoilers from the Walking Dead game, especially from episode 5, so don't think if you haven't played the last episode yet that you're safe, because generally I'll talk about the whole game here, but specifically the last episode I will be talking about from this point on, so if you have not played, or not played that episode, or do not wish to be spoiled, don't watch any further and I'll see you guys again later, but if you have played and you would like to discuss The Walking Dead with me further, please continue. I'll run through a couple things here. The first thing is the first major choice in the game, and that is that I saved Carly, not Doug. which tends to be the popular choice. I've been reading a lot about other people's reactions to the game. I've found a single person who rescued Doug and not Carly, and I think this was... There was wind at my door just now and it kind of opened the screen door and scared the hell out of me. I can't talk about zombies while scary things are happening. But anyway, yes, I rescued Carly, not Doug, for two reasons. The first of all is because she was a sharpshooter and I kind of valued her shooting skills over Doug's potential technical skills. I don't know, I didn't really think that reprogramming a universal remote really made him a tech genius that would be very useful to me. The second reason is that games like Mass Effect have programmed me to think that if I rescue this character who is a potential romantic interest, I may be rewarded with a special scene later on. So that was, I'm not going to lie, one of the second driving forces behind rescuing Carly, but of course, that mattered for all of 1.5 episodes before Lily had to take her out. Speaking of Lily as well, in the meat locker in episode 2, I did take out Larry because one of my housemates was standing behind me and told me some very fun statistics about heart attacks and severe heart attacks and the likelihood of survival, and pretty much said that, you know, that guy's gonna turn, you should take him out, so I did. I kind of wish I hadn't, because Lily, you know, just, it's a terrible thing to think about, but, you know, Lily did not appreciate it for the rest of the remainder of the time with her, which is definitely to be expected, but you also kind of hope that she'd see it from Kenny and Lee's point of view, but it's a very messy situation. Speaking of Lily still, I did let her back onto the RV, which it just felt too mean to leave her there, especially after the whole thing with her father in episode 2. Like, obviously she just like snapped, gone crazy and just murdered Carly in cold blood for something she suspected her of doing, but it just didn't feel right to leave her there, especially as such a spur of the moment thing like there's zombies coming, we gotta go, now. So I said, yeah, get her back on the RV, we'll sort her out later. And then a lot of people didn't actually do that. The two people I've been talking to who played it around the same time as me didn't let her back on, so we had different experiences here. If you don't let her back on, you know, that's it. You find the train, leave the RV there and go on your merry way. Otherwise, if you take Lily with you, when you go on the train to look for a pencil to help with the map rubbings, Lily tries to attack you and then drives off with the RV when you tell her to get off. So that's fun. Lily steals your RV, so, you know, we're done with her, she's dead to me. I just like kind of threw my hands up in like outrage. I was like, what? You stole my RV! So, not a fan of Lily anymore. Episode 3 wrecked my emotions with Katya and Duck mostly. Man, when they showed Duck's bite, I was just like, well, no, can't handle this. And then, oh man, and then right after that, you have to do Clementine, which is hard. And then you have that dream where Clementine turns and attacks you. I was like, what is happening? And then my heart was like actually pounding. And then I realized it was a dream and I was like, okay, that's good, but this game is terrible to me and mean and I should not play it anymore, but I really want to, so I kept playing, of course. But oh man, that chapter wrecked me emotionally. That bit with Duck and Katya was just heartbreaking. Watching Kenny and like there was no way I could make him shoot his own son. So I was the manly man. I was like, no, I'll do it. Step aside, it's fine, I'll do it. It's a manly man. Also, this has gone on way too long, so I will hopefully be not too much longer here, but in episode 5, well, man, that episode was just insane. I started off by, I actually played the beginning of this one twice. First time, I accidentally chose keep the arm. No, to chop off the arm. That was the first time. The second time, because I hadn't actually gotten to make that choice, I felt kind of like it was stolen from me, so I felt obligated to play through again, make the choice on my own terms, then figured that if I was going to replay it, I may as well make the choice I didn't make the first time. Ended up keeping the arm and like immediately regretting it and thinking that may have saved him. I didn't really think it would because the infection seemed to have already set in, but I was like, ooh, I probably should have taken that chance, but now it's gone. So I kept playing and I think it works out pretty much the same regardless, so I guess it's okay. I left Lee more mobile for the rest of the game, but that was kind of heavily weighing on me for the rest of episode 5. I ended up playing again to get the footage for this video, taking off Lee's arm in episode 5 I mean, and it just kind of, it just weirds me out looking at Lee's stump and it like drips blood and it was just kind of weird. I think that's why I replayed it the first time. It weirded me out too much seeing this freshly cut off stump. Ooh. I feel bad for Krista as well having to do it, but ooh. I don't want to think about a stump now, but anyway, thank you guys so much for watching my video about the Walking Dead game. Hopefully you have enjoyed it as much as I have, and please leave a comment with your thoughts because I am actually be careful, because people may not have seen have played the game who are watching this video, so be careful. No spoilers in the comments, please. But I can't stop you, but please don't post spoilers in the comments. I would like that if you didn't. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys had an amazing day. I am actually going to probably play more of The Walking Dead now. Whoops. And tomorrow I'm getting the Wii U because it finally releases in Australia, so expect a video on the Wii U eventually. But apart from that, I'll see you guys again soon for another video at some point.